to the Yo Hockey Show, and today we're going to talk about Game 1 of the Conference Finals Series, where we have the Panthers versus the Canes and the Oilers versus the Stars.
So let's get into game number 1 between the Eastern Conference Finals, the rematch of 2023, where it feels like nothing has changed. The same story as before. The Panthers, in 2023, the Canes outplayed them, just completely dominated them, but the Canes could not figure out a way to score. And not tonight, 2 days ago, they did the exact same thing. They got their scoring chances. They were playing neck and neck with the Florida Panthers, but they could not find a way to put the puck in the back of the net enough times. Of course, they found it twice with Aho and Blake, and two solid goals, especially the Aho one. That was a perfectly clean goal. Anyone that thought that was a kicking attempt is insane. That is a redirection, but that doesn't matter. The Canes had their scoring chances. They had their domination play not domination, but the way they like to play. They possess the puck, they skate around, they cycle the puck, but it's the same problem that has troubled the Canes for years, is they can't find some guys to be the one that just feed it into the back of the net. The Panthers, though, lethal as ever, right? The Cats killed and the Canes tried. They just couldn't. When Verhaeghe scoring the first goal of this game, all he did was they got the puck right in front of the net. Verhaeghe was like, okay, and then just top shelf backhand with it, right? And guess what? They scored on a scoring chance. The Ekblad goal, right? Same exact thing. Stahl turns over the puck miserably. Great opportunity for the Panthers to get an offensive attack. And guess what? It might be not the strongest goal in the world, but Ekblad finds the back of the net when they have a scoring chance. Same thing with the A.J. Greer goal, Bennett's goal, and Lou Osterainen's goal. They just kept getting those chances, and they were able to bury them. And the Canes couldn't. If you are walking away from game number 1 between the Canes and the Cats thinking that this was a domination game by the Panthers, you're crazy. If you're going into game number 2 in just like an hour from now and you think that the Florida Panthers dominated game 1 and they're going to do so tonight, I think you're also crazy. That game, if you erase the score and just neglect that game was almost as close as it could be. The Panthers, they did exactly everything right to actually get the win when things mattered, right? The Hurricanes, they did things right, but just the Panthers, they are just too good. They're overpowered. I saw someone, I don't remember who said it, but it's just the best line ever. It is the Panthers. I don't think it's possible for a team to beat the Panthers in a best-of-7 series. In this current state, they have the depth, they have the drive, they have that killer attitude, the killer instinct to just pound guys with the puck, pound the net with pucks. They have the skill to score on scoring chances, where teams like the Canes, they might also have the same 50-50 puck battles. They always win them. They can bully teams. They can cycle the puck. They have great goaltending. They might have everything else down, except they can't freaking score on goals, right? Then if you look at the other teams on the board here, right? You go to Dallas, and it's like they have the same kind of deals, but they have like a missing element to them, right? Where, Dallas is a little bit different. I would say Dallas, I think it's going to be Dallas versus the Panthers in the finals at this point. I think it'll be a pretty good finals. But the Oilers, same thing, where it's like they have that killer instinct, but then when you get to defense and goaltending, it just goes out the window. The Cats have every single thing down. They possess God, goaltending, offense, and defense. They got it down, and I just don't think any team can really overcome that. But the Canes, they have something going on, right? If easily, just like in 2023, that series not being a sweep by that Rod Brindamore says is the last game could have easily been the same exact kind of deal. Could have been the Canes game easily. If they could have been the ones to convert on some of those chances, if Verhaeghe's goal, if the puck doesn't go flick perfectly off a stick where it rolls on its side and it's a perfect way for a backhand, if it's laying flat on the ice, he's not able to get that elevation, it's a save by Anderson. If Stahl doesn't turn over the puck like an idiot, Ekblad doesn't get that scoring chance, and so on and so forth. And I know those are a bunch of what ifs, but the Canes were right there with them. It's just Sergei Bobrovsky is the best goaltender in the playoffs currently in the world. Anderson, he played phenomenal in the lead up to this series, but I just think the Canes, they just have such a great shutdown. They have so many layers they play. The Rod the Bod makes them play such great, like, all 200-foot game that it makes Anderson's life really easy. But now you're playing against the Panthers, a team that can play that same game as the Canes. They're able to break through that game and challenge Anderson unlike any team has yet. And I just think it is... The Canes are a watered-down Panthers. They have all of those elements where they got some really tough clutch guys. They have some great goaltending, great depth, great defense, really well coached. But it's just they don't have Kachuk. They have Aho. They don't have... They do have Reinhardt and Barkov. Not Svechnikov. They do have... Well, I guess defensively, Slavin's better. But... You get what I'm saying. In net, Bobrovsky over Anderson. They have all like those parallels. It's just the Panthers win in each fashion, in each way. And it's just sad to see. But for me, the Canes, if they're going to win the series and come back, which is not plenty of series left to be played out, but they need to actually score on those chances. When they get a power play, they need to score on it. When they get a big scoring chance like they were able to generate, they actually need to get that hard stick. So many times where there was like that one the backdoor chance where they said Jones kind of messed them up. I kind of disagree. I don't remember who it was, but whoever was at the back door to get a stronger hand on their stick and be able to direct in the net, not let it bounce off and go into the corner. So the Canes, going into game 2, they need to limit the Panthers' chances. Don't let them, because they will score. The Panthers will score. Anderson will clean up some of the mess, right? As long as they limit their chances and the Canes are able to generate those better opportunities and actually put some in the back of the net, things will be fine. And just a little bit, right? I think this is still a really tight series that could easily go to a Game 7, right? If things work the way the Canes want to. But if they don't, another sweep is incoming. But let's talk about the other game in the West. The Oilers versus the Dallas Stars. A game that went 2/3 to one team, and somehow a 1/3 of the game made the game completely become a blowout for one team, which is usually not what happens. The Edmonton Oilers, I think, without a doubt, were the better team for the first 2 periods. Not even a question. I think Dallas wasn't being blown out of the water, but when it came to chances, when it came to containing the puck, just being more menacing, it was the Oilers' game. But McDavid looked amazing. Draisaitl was playing amazing. They did everything they needed to do right. It's just they ran into Ottinger. They ran into a deep team that can play with their guns out. They can play and shut down the top guys. And Dallas, when they finally got their chance, when they finally got their opportunity to make it their game, they ran with it. They got that third period. They got 3 power plays in a row and scored on every single one of them and took the lead. With that Duchesne goal being incredible off of Rupe Hintz's ass, back onto his stick, rips it again, goes in the back of the net. This game had everything that these two teams bring to the table. They had the Oilers being offensive, just dynamos. They also had that Edmonton's obvious huge black hole when it comes to a net. I don't care that Stuart Skinner got 2 shutouts in the last series. I don't care whatever the hell you think about you believe the Oilers defense is incredible. I disagree. The Oilers defense is fine. It is not incredible, but it definitely can bleed, and this team bled a whole lot. And so we see Edmonton's amazing offense and their miserable other half of the ice. And we saw Dallas being a team that isn't able Dallas is so deep, and they have Rantanen now to really bolster that offense, and those Finns are just going crazy, which they showed it tonight. Miro, Lindell, Granlund getting goals tonight. Their depth showed. They showed up. It's just they don't have those true game breakers. I know Rantanen's getting a ton of points, but he hasn't really taken over games, where other teams like Dallas or, say, like Florida have some guys that can really take over a game and control the puck. Dallas has those rolling lines that keep going and going and going. And every angle of this game showed those strengths and weaknesses of these two teams. And Dallas's strengths and weaknesses outright won. And I think that's how the rest of this series is going to go. I think Dallas is they just have all the pieces going at the same time. They're healthy this year. Ottinger's been Ottinger this year. They're not tired out from the series in the past, and I just don't think this is the Oilers' time. I think the Oilers have a great opportunity with a great cast to go far in the playoffs and finally get McDavid and Draisaitl their cups, but I just don't believe when your number one defenseman is Evan Bouchard, even though he gets tons of goals, he leads defensemen in goals and probably points. I don't actually know that, but I'm sure he does. But you need that number one strong defense two-way guy. Hedmans. You need Hedmans. You need Petrangelos. You need Cale Makars, right? You need these guys that play both ways on the ice when they're taking up tons of time. And the Oilers, they just don't have that. You need a goaltender that is able to at least stay competitive. And to me, just Stuart Skinner, he didn't wow me last night. I think the goals he let in were, I don't want to say soft, but it's just Oilers, they have a big defense and back-end problem. And so to me, let's going forward in the conference finals. Carolina versus the Florida Panthers. I think for me, game number 2 happening today. I think Carolina, they have that curse, of course. 0-13 in the last 13 conference final appearances. Ever since winning the Stanley Cup, they can't win a single game in the conference final. This game coming up tonight, if they lose, I think they get swept. If they win, I think they have found a game that they can play against the Panthers and could go the distance. If the Toronto Maple Leafs could make them go the distance, I think the Canes can. But I just don't... I don't know. If there is ever a Carolina team or a team in the East to take down the Panthers, it is this Canes team. They have all the pieces. They have Aho. They have Blake. They, of course, have Svechnikov. They have Stanky. They have pieces that can score. Burns could jump up and finally get some big points on the board. It's just they need to show up. They need to show up. They have those pieces. They have them in the wings. It's just they need to execute. And if tonight they don't, I think they're screwed. But that is all I guess I gotta say. So thank you for watching this. If you made it this far, please, I am begging you to subscribe. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.